When you're building your drawer, the first thing we need to do is to measure the depth and the width. It's on number 34 on your instructions. And put your tape measure in, and you read from the back of the box to the front of this rabbet, farthest in right there, and that reads at 6 9/16. And I want to subtract 1/16. So that will go from 6 9/16 to 6 1/2. My other measurement is going to be from the inside of the rabbet there to the inside of the rabbet on the other side. I just take my tape measure, put it in there, and then bend it and get it inside there. You get a pretty accurate measurement. Hard to do this left-handed. And that's going to be 9 3/4. The other thing I want to do is I'm going to take a long piece of MDF or plywood, and I'm going to put it inside here. I'm going to measure that distance there. Right now I'm measuring that out at 1 1/4 inches. I'm going to take those measurements and I'm going to plane down a piece of pine, 4-foot pine, so that it will look to be half an inch thick, and then I'm going to take it and rip it at that measurement that I measured here, minus 1/16. After I do that, I'm going to also take that piece of MDF or plywood, and I'm going to rip and cross cut that down to the measurement that I measured. So now that I got my plywood milled down to 6 1/2 by 9 3/4, I'm going to put it inside the sleeve like that. I've also taken this piece of pine, this 4-foot piece of pine that I planed down to 1/2 inch, which will supply about 3 or 4 people if I used a 9 1/4 inch wide board, a bigger board. Multiple people can use that, because I'm only going to use a little bit. I measured this distance from in here like this, which was 1 1/4, and I subtracted a 1/16 of an inch, which puts me at 1 3/16. And I know if I build my box at that measurement, my drawer will still fit in. It's important that you do this. A lot of people will just measure this distance, forget that they're going to put their sides of their box, of their drawer, on top of this. Make sure that you do this. This is a very important step that a lot of people tend to forget. Well, now I'm going to go take this and put it on here. I don't even need my measuring tape, and I'm just going to scribe a line the same width as my drawer bottom with my pen or pencil. I'm going to turn it over, do the same thing on the back side. And I'm going to go cut those on the chop saw. I've got my 2 sides cut. And now I find it is a lot easier, rather than taking my measuring tape and those moving and me trying to hold those still. Instead, I could go like this and measure it like this and draw a line, but again, those are moving. I like to put them together and put this flush over here, or even do this on top, and put this flush in the bottom back here. Make sure it's straight. Oops. Make sure it's straight, and then draw my line. And that's how wide my sides are going to be. Do it to the other side. Now when I cut these, this side and this side should be the identical length, and these two should be the identical length as well. So now I've got all my sides cut. They're all the same. These two are the same length. These two are the same length. And they'll go like this when I put them together. And it should work out so that my sides are nice and smooth with the plywood or MDF. And same thing with the front and back of my drawer. Nice and flush with the bottom there. Now it's time to assemble it. Well, with a nail gun, first we need to know how to use it. First, you have to plug it into the wall, and to do that, it's the same way as plugging it into the gun. You pull this coupler back, and then put it on the male end there, and now it's attached. Now I've got pressure in the gun, and before I do that, I want to make sure that I've got nails in it. You open it up and you can see I've got 5/8 inch nails, so smaller nails for this. It's important to make sure you got smaller nails for this because you don't want real long ones. And now that I know that I've got those, I can just close the gun back up. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky. There you go. To open it, I just push this button down and it springs back. Now I'm ready to go. I'm going to attach it there. To assemble the drawer, I think it's easiest to do one piece at a time. So I kind of put these underneath there to hold it. And then I put a little bit of glue, not very much. That was a little bit too much, so I'll use some of this on one of the other pieces. So I don't want to have to clean it up later. You don't need that much glue. But the glue is stronger than the nails, so you want to make sure you have glue on there. Put that one aside. Make sure that they're nice and make sure that this is in the right position. Now when I use the nail gun, I want to, there's an arrow on the front right there, and then I can see a little groove where the nails come out. And I just want to make sure that that groove and that arrow are right in the middle of the board that I'm shooting into. One in the middle, adjusting it as I need to, because sometimes the board will move a little bit. 3 on the one sides is plenty. Then I'd go over and I'd start doing the sides. When I do the sides here, I want to make sure that I get a nice tight fit over here. So I'm going to push it in and hold it tight. Notice I'm keeping my fingers far away. I'll show you an example on here. You also want to put one nail in here. You don't want to hold this right here because you never know where that nail is going to go. Is it going to shoot through and out and into my thumb or into my finger? Well, so I'm going to move my hand far away, and now I'm out of the danger zone. Now I'm ready to assemble the other pieces. You always want to make sure you wear safety glasses when you're using a nail gun. Even if you're not the one using it and you're around, you want to make sure that the other people around are wearing the safety glasses. There's been times in the shop here where people have been walking by and somebody has missed. They literally missed the board they're shooting in, and it went careening off and hit somebody in the shoulder or hit somebody in the back with a nail gun, with a flying nail. So you really got to make sure that you're careful and wear your eyeglasses at all times in the shop. if the nail gun ever gets jammed, then you want to first disconnect the air and then open it up, see if you can fix it. If not, then come see the teacher. That's the completion of my drawer. I would now take a wet paper towel, get off all the glue, and go on to the next step. It fits nicely in my box.